Namaskaram, Sadhguru. I just came back home after spending 3 months of lockdown in the ashram, and I am forever grateful to you and everyone there who give themselves so totally. I'm back home and I feel I owe it to my Guru and to the people there to help. On this Guru Purnima, I would like to ask Sadhguru, what can I do for my Guru?
Is this Adiyogi asking the question? Is it Adiyogi asking the question? What can you do for your Guru? Oh. I think they already had the question ready in their head. They didn't listen to me, what I was saying all this time. Anyway, what can you do? Well, you don't have to do anything to him, because he is not him or her, nor is he this or that. So you can't do this or that to him. You leave him alone. But you are striving for your well-being. He is striving for everybody's well-being. If you can expand your striving from being my well-being to a larger well-being, well, it would make his life little easy. And he could be a little better failure than what it is looking like right now. When I say little better failure, you know I've spoken many times. When I was 25, when I realized if I don't mess with my mind, I can be ecstatic any moment of my life. When I realized this, and when I experimented in so many ways, in various kinds of situations, it doesn't matter where I am, in what kind of conditions I am, if I just take my hand off my mind, I'm just bursting with ecstasy. Then I knew this is it. I thought I was the first one to discover. You know, I am like Columbus. Columbus discovered America. Well, before him, for thousands of years, people have been living here, but he discovered. Similarly, in the Indian school textbooks, we read, Vasco da Gama discovered India. This Portuguese guy came and discovered India. No, it was there before that. We've been there for thousands of years before that as a well-organized culture, but he discovered us. Just like that, I discovered that if I don't mess with my mind, I'm ecstatic. Because right from my very early age, I must tell you, somewhere deep inside I've been so arrogant that I never read anything. I thought, or I didn't even think, because life engaged me. From a very early age, plants, animals, tadpoles, frogs, fishes, insects engage me so deeply, and of course, say, cobras, they engage me so deeply that I never thought it's necessary to open a book and read it. So definitely I did not read the Yoga Sutras. Though I was practicing yoga, intensely practicing yoga, but never bothered to read Yoga Sutras. I remember when I went to Melladiyalli Swami's ashram for my first stint of yoga, many years later, after things happened to me, I remembered, always there were books on yoga. written by him and also other things. Yoga Sutras written in Kannada, I still remember that entire… It was a library with hardly 30-40 books, so I remember almost all the titles that were there. But I never bothered to pull out one damn thing and read it. Because life kept me engaged. What was happening within me, what was happening around me, kept me fully engaged. I never thought I had to open and read something. Except the compulsory books, like textbooks. That also I read only 35% of it because I was only aiming to get 35%. So I never read the Yoga Sutras, nowhere did I come across Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. This I heard many years later. So when I realized that if I don't mess with my mind, I'm just ecstatic and it can be very easily done, and I knew how to do it. I sat down and made a plan, a real plan. In 2.5 years' time, I will make the whole world ecstatic. Still, you're still sitting there and gaping at me. 38 years, huh? Well, here and there we see tears of ecstasy, but not the whole world, it's not happened. So we're still striving. And people are so invested in their miseries. You know, I never imagined that people would be so invested in their miseries. Things that cause enormous distress to them, they're so invested, they will not leave it, no matter what. I did not realize this when I was 25. I thought, if you give a better option, everybody will jump. But no, they won't leave the familiar because they are so horribly invested in their insecurities and miseries. So, having said that, but as I said, we are not doing very badly. We are definitely going to fail in my lifetime. I don't feel that way, but you can see, it's in the evening. This is not the morning of my life, towards the evening. Not at sunset, there is still a lot more. You know, before sunset there are a lot of colors, all right? It's the grandest time for the sun in terms of scenery. So still there is a lot of scenery, but in terms of time, energy and the size of the population, we know we will die of failure. If you can increase my percentage, if you can be a part of increasing this percentage, in whichever way possible, constantly on it. Not one day when you come visit the yoga center, you are constantly on it according to your capacity. I am not asking you to do the same things that somebody else is doing or I am doing, to your capacity, if this matters to you. Now you said, these 3 months lockdown, I really enjoyed Isha Yoga Center. In many ways, Isha Yoga Center in India and also here many people did not walk in before the lockdown, but there over 3,000 people, and the amount of work we are doing in the villages with not a single infection, everybody absolutely safe, a large premises where people can move around, all protocols followed, sadhana happening wonderfully. Weather cooperated. Pre-monsoon rains came early and eased the summer off pretty easy. With all this, last 3 months have been wonderful, I must tell you this. In the last 40 years or more, probably, in the last 45 years, I've never stayed home for more than 12 to 15 days ever. The first time I stayed home, slept on the same bed for over 85 days. It's been very good. Been eating good food, sleeping well, no travel. Well, it's been good for you, I'm glad, but you need to understand this. This goodness that you experience, for this, there are so many people out there, hundreds of them, who are incessantly working just for this one thing, that it must happen to more people than what is there right now. So if you want to do something for me, this is what you should do. How do I do? You tell me, what is your capability? If you have time, we will tell you what you can do. If you have some other talent or capability, we will tell you what you can do. If you have money, we will tell you what you can do. That's the easiest thing. Because all these things are needed. We need a striving from a significant population so that we will be better failures than right now the trajectory is. And we are going to make sure that in the next few years, we will definitely hit a higher trajectory. And if you want to be a part of it, if you want to put your energies into it, whatever you have, you can put it as a part of this. Many things are going on right now. One thing is, the online inner engineering program is being offered at a discounted price for everybody and free for all the medical personnel. I'm glad to see that nearly 85,000 medical personnel have made use of it till now in the last 3 years. It's fantastic. I hope it's keeping them up. Many of them are sharing what a difference it's made in these hard times for them, because it's been a very trying situation. This is also available for police officers. Over, I think nearly about 170 police officers have died in India of COVID because they were the main enforcers of lockdowns. Probably nowhere else in the world lockdown was enforced so rigidly as India did. So numbers speaks for that in many ways, for the concentration of population there is. And the medical staff is being stretched to the limits. Many of them have not gone home for a month or two. They are staying in hotel rooms and serving in the hospitals because they're afraid their families will get it. A lady doctor in Delhi was sharing this, unfortunately, that her husband had diabetes, so they made sure he never steps out of the house, he was kept safe at home. But she was serving in the hospital, and a few days she came home to repack her clothes and stuff like that, you know. You have to wash your clothes, you have to do things, there is chores to do. So she came home a few times and he died. She was sharing on the video, it was most heartrending, that she said, it's me who did this to him. He did not even step out of the house, but I brought it home. So these kind of things are happening to people. So, we are offering all this. If you have to offer something free, you must understand all of us have to work extra to keep the free thing going. A whole lot of people thinks it just falls out of the sky. That's not how it is. So as a part of this, now they've started this movement called Sangamitra. More details can be had on the website. This is about many people have always told me, Sadhguru, how can we contribute? But till now, as a rule, I've never openly asked for money. Only when this virus situation struck and I saw people were beginning to starve around us, I said, please, we need money. And fortunately, people responded. We are able to cook for 13,000 to 15,000 people every day. Still it's going on for last 3 months. And our boys are out there in the villages serving every one of them. This may not be understood in many parts of the world what it means, but in India, the daily wagers, if they don't go to work for a week or 2 weeks, they have run out, their economy is over. The only way is to starve. I could not believe in rural India that this was beginning to happen. We thought this would be urban phenomena, but in rural India when it started happening, we reached out and many people have been contributing. Now, there are various aspects to this. We don't want to take up too many social causes, but of course Kaveri calling is there. In spite of the pandemic, the work on the ground has been happening as it should happen. Over 11 million saplings are going to be planted now in the monsoon time in farmlands. This is not in some barren land. This is in farmlands planted by the farmer, so you can expect 90 to 100% survival rate because it is being grown as a crop, not as a forest. So, tree-based agriculture is taking root, which is a long-term well-being for the farmers. And we are also looking at how to make at least 1/3 of human diet should come from the trees. This must happen everywhere. We are looking at making this happen in the Kaveri belt to start with, but this is necessary that at least 1/3 of the food should come from trees. And if you want to go into the statistics, we are in the process of laying out a movement called Conscious Planet. All our plans have been pushed a little bit. This is about making people conscious, because that's the only problem we have. Unconscious human beings are the only problem you have on this planet. Even now, this pandemic flying around the country, flying around the world like this is basically because of unconscious human beings. If only human beings were a little more conscious, very easily we could have contained this. All it takes is, if today, Guru Purnima, all of us take this step, the entire human population, for next 15 days, 14 to 15 days, we don't come in contact with anybody, just sit by yourself. Finished, pandemic is over in the world, this many people need not die, economies of nations need not be ruined, people need not be put to such hardship. All this is not necessary if only we were conscious. So one thing is to become conscious about how we are within ourselves, another is to be conscious about… because another pandemic is unfolding itself rapidly, which is the ecological pandemic. Well, this could take many, many more lives than the virus will take. Much bigger disasters and much bigger challenges are just not even next generation, in this generation they're waiting if we don't do the right things. So, I don't want to go into that detail today, but there are movements like this. So we are looking at how people can participate. You can contribute 5 rupees, 10 rupees, but on a steady basis, depending upon the volume of finance we have. Because we have never surrendered our cause and the freedom of functioning as an unprejudiced organization to any major corporate or major funding. This is the reason why we don't have any major funding, because most of the major funding comes with strings, unfortunately. So, our contributions have always been like this from people. So, we are looking how to make this happen, so that one thing is to take this possibility of how a human being can generate the quality of his life or her life from within themselves. The quality of your life is determined by within, not by outside. If this one thing happens, that you know how to be blissful by your own nature, if this happens to at least 60% of the population, there will be no ecological challenge. You must understand, ecological challenge is a consequence of human beings in search of well-being, ripping the planet apart. If well-being is guaranteed, human beings will naturally function in a much, much more conscious way. As a part of this, you can be a part of the Sangha which is striving. You don't have to do anything for me. See, people are taking care of food. Last 2-3 lifetimes, food was always a problem. We were starved out. This life I'm well fed. My needs are small, but I'm well fed. So you don't have to do anything to me. Rest of it is just paraphernalia. With or without it, we can live. We have no issues about that. So you don't bother about doing anything to me. One thing is, your first commitment is, you're striving to become a blissful being. That's your first striving. Your second striving is how to support this striving that I have to see that everybody becomes blissful. In this process, in which way you can participate, please participate. The Sanghamitra is there, you can contact and see how, in how many different ways you can participate and make this happen. Let's make this happen. This is our life, this is our time on the planet. What wonderful things we do is left to us, or what we don't do is also left to us, and what horrible things we do to each other is also left to us.